The 2026 Royal Rumble is just a few short days away, with 30 participants looking to punch their ticket to a World Championship match at the grandest stage of them all in WrestleMania. And of course, this year's Royal Rumble is just as important as any other ones, and you may say this could be one of the most anticipated Royal Rumbles in recent memory because we really only have one name that we think hypothetically could win, and that would be the Tribal Chief and Roman Reigns. But you never know when they're going to turn a different corner and flip the book on its head and change the direction on the road to WrestleMania. But we're not going to talk about this year's Royal Rumble and the potential returns of Chris Jericho coming back with the so-called Judas effect. But what we are going to talk about is 6 different Royal Rumble matches. And we're going to talk about who should have won those matches. Sometimes they get it right, like Shinsuke Nakamura in 2018 or Batista in 2005. But sometimes they pick the completely wrong winner at the complete wrong time, and it just makes for a stale road to WrestleMania. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So join me on our journey in discussing 6 different Royal Rumble winners that should have been changed. We're going to start this off all the way back in the era of Attitude with the 1999 Royal Rumble, coined with the catchphrase, "No chance in hell." Now that catchphrase worked perfectly for this event, considering that the winner of the Royal Rumble was the chairman who coined that phrase in Vince and Kennedy McMahon. Now this was during the feud of the so-called Austin versus McMahon era, one of the feuds that really was the cornerstone of the Attitude Era through the late 90s. However, Vince McMahon was not the correct winner at all, and it was one of the worst choices for a Royal Rumble winner in the history of the inception of the 30-man elimination match. Now, some people are going to say that Stone Cold Steve Austin was the perfect choice to win because, obviously, going into WrestleMania 15 in 99, it ended up being The Rock versus Stone Cold for the first time at WrestleMania. But I have a different opinion. I think it should have been the leader of the Ministry of Darkness in The Undertaker who should have won the 30-man elimination match. Now, I know you're going to say that Undertaker was injured throughout much of 99, and that's why he formed the Unholy Alliance with Big Show, and that's why he was more of a on-screen persona than an actual performer for some of 1999. But in the beginning of 99, he was okay, and he ended up winning the WWF Championship from Stone Cold over at the Over the Edge pay-per-view later on in the year. However, I think The Undertaker winning the 30-man Rumble with the help of the Ministry of Darkness would have been a great option going into WrestleMania, because you would have had the undefeated streak of The Undertaker, which wasn't really, I would say, brought to the light at this point in 99, but you would have had that angle going into a match against the World Wrestling Federation champion in the Brahma Bull, The Rock, and you could have had Stone Cold involved as well. And this could have also saved the first ever match for Stone Cold and The Rock for either WrestleMania 2000 or WrestleMania 17, which is known as one of the best WrestleManias of all time. And if we did get, let's say, The Rock versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 15, let's say Stone Cold Steve Austin isn't even in the conversation, that's a match we never got really on a major pay-per-view if you think about it. And if it was back in 99 when The Undertaker was at the height of his career and The Rock was becoming, one of the biggest heels in the business, heel/face, but in 99 he was a heel. I mean, The Undertaker versus The Rock at WrestleMania 15, it could have done a lot of big numbers for the Attitude Era. But let's move on to number 2. We will now go over a decade into the future from 1999 and talk about the 2011 Royal Rumble, which was won by a heel that the WWE really, and I mean really loved at this point in the World Wrestling Entertainment saga, and that's Alberto Del Rio. Alberto Del Rio, I mean, you could tell the WWE thought this guy was going to be a big star. He was going to be the next JBL. He was going to be the Temu version of a JBL. And I think that was the wrong decision every which way but right. And if I got to pick a winner, I'm actually going to pick a winner that faced the World Heavyweight Champion at this pay-per-view in Edge, in Dolph Ziggler. I think Dolph Ziggler was the perfect man to win the Royal Rumble in 2011. Obviously, Ziggler's real fame and fortune didn't come till the tail end of 2012, going into 2013 and 2014. That's when fans really started to get behind Dolph Ziggler and want him to be a main eventer, which led to him winning the Money in the Bank briefcase and cashing in against the guy we're talking about in Alberto Del Rio. But I think Dolph Ziggler would have been a shock winner for the Royal Rumble in 2011. And yes, you could say it was too early in his WWE career since he debuted in, I believe he debuted in 2009. But at the same time, I think it would have been a good winner. It would have been a surprise winner, and it would have been a winner that the WWE fans would have got behind. And I just don't think Del Rio really deserved the Royal Rumble win at all, and I know I'm not the only one that said that. And then, he ended up winning the Money in the Bank later in his career, just like Ziggler. So there are a lot of ties between Ziggler and Del Rio. But to be honest with you, I think Ziggler is the only logical choice, at least for 2011, besides CM Punk. The other person I would pick would have to be CM Punk, and being the leader of the Nexus and everything, and leading into the John Cena feud. But we got that Cena feud for Money in the Bank, so I don't think the Rumble is needed. But I would have picked Dolph Ziggler. I think Ziggler versus Edge at WrestleMania 27 for the World Heavyweight Championship would have been a great move, and it would have probably made WrestleMania 27 not a laughing stock of WrestleManias when you look back into the past. But yeah, Dolph Ziggler is going to be my pick for 2011, and we'll move on to the next Rumble on our list. Alright, are you really surprised about this next one? 2014 and Batista returning and winning the Rumble. It was cool to see Batista back, but it was very predictable. And a lot of these Rumbles were very predictable, and that was part of the reason that people did not like the winner. But Batista didn't need to win the Rumble in order to get to WrestleMania. But again, him winning the Rumble led to Daniel Bryan winning the world title at WrestleMania 30 because of the Yes Movement. So we did get some good that came out of it. But I'm actually going to say that I think Roman Reigns should have won the Rumble in 2014. I think that going down to Roman Reigns and Batista, it was a shock because I don't think people expected Roman Reigns to be in the final two, because at that point he wasn't a big star. He was a tag team champion, and I believe he might have won a singles title, but I don't think he had a singles title yet at that point, just a tag title run. And yeah, I think Roman Reigns was the choice for WrestleMania 30. It would have been too early, but this could have pushed him into that main event, and it wouldn't have had to be so forced going into 2015, 16, 17, 18, and you catch my drift. I think that fans would have gravitated towards Reigns a lot more organically if he had won the Rumble as a surprise winner in 2014. I mean, Roman Reigns as a surprise winner of the Rumble is kind of crazy when you think about it, but I think it would have worked. So my pick for 2014 would not have been Batista. It would have been Roman Reigns to win the Royal Rumble. All right, Royal Rumble 2015. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is way worse than 2014. Maybe not way worse, but pretty bad, with Roman Reigns winning. See, this is the difference of waiting a year when you could have made the right decision a year ago. That's the 2015 Rumble for me, because the clear decision for winning this Rumble was Daniel Bryan. I mean, come on, do we really have to sit here? Daniel Bryan should have won the Rumble. And when you look back at it now, him winning the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 31, and the way that the main event ended with Brock and Roman, and then Seth coming in with the cash-in, over time, these Rumble wins, even if we say they're bad on this list, they did end up working out over time and in the long run. But I still think Roman Reigns was the wrong winner, because everybody knew that's who Vince wanted to win, so everybody hated it. And if he was a heel, perfect. But Roman was a face at the time because Vince wanted to shove him down our throats. So this was clearly not the winner. I mean, they literally had The Rock come back and be in the Rumble to congratulate Roman Reigns just to get him over, and it still didn't work, and the fans hated it. So that tells you everything you need to know. But yeah, I think Daniel Bryan was the clear winner for this year. And it would have sucked because he ended up getting injured, and, things that happened with him retiring from in-ring competition for a long time. We obviously didn't want to see that, and that is what happened. But either way, man, like, I think Daniel Bryan was the only choice to win the Rumble in 2015. I mean, at this point, CM Punk was gone, so they didn't have another Daniel Bryan-esque character because Punk and Bryan kind of had that, indie darling gimmick going on. But I still think Daniel Bryan was the right choice, and having him win and go to WrestleMania would have been what the fans wanted. But we know Vince at the time didn't always want to give the fans what they wanted. So yeah, my pick would have been Daniel Bryan. I don't think we have to talk about it too much because everybody knows who this pick was going to be. But let's move on to the next entry on our list. All right, the horrible ending to the trilogy of bad Rumble winners in the 2016 Rumble. Now, everything about this Royal Rumble should have worked. 30-man Rumble match for the WWE Championship. I mean, a 30-man Rumble for the championship, how could it not work? Well, the reason why it didn't and could not work is because the fans knew what was going to happen, and the only difference is they eliminated Roman Reigns to give him that shock factor because they wanted him to so badly succeed going into WrestleMania that he could lose the title to a man who entered the match late at number 30, who barely was in the match, in an old, withered, and weathered Triple H, for him to have to chase the title that he had basically already had. So it was like a chase for a title, but like it wasn't really a chase because he was just the champion. Oh my God, he lost. Now he's got to get his belt back. Stupid, 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 stupid. Absolutely stupid. So who do I think should have won this Royal Rumble? Well, I'll give an honorable mention first, and that is the leader of the Wyatt family and Bray Wyatt. I mean, come on, 2016 Bray Wyatt. Absolutely incredible. Wyatt from 2014, basically for the rest of his career, fans loved him. There was never really a point where they didn't. And I think Bray Wyatt winning the championship in a Rumble would have given him one of the biggest pushes of his career. But at the same time, I mean, he had just faced The Undertaker at WrestleMania the year before, which was a huge match for him, even though he came up in a losing effort. And I mean, Taker had already lost the streak, so it wouldn't have meant too much if Wyatt won anyway. But if Wyatt had still had the undefeated streak of Taker intact, I think that him winning against Taker at 31 could have made his career. But that's a story for another day. That's a story for another video. Triple H didn't need to win the Rumble. He didn't need to be the champion. He didn't need to face, he didn't need to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania for a title that we knew Reigns was going to win back. So my honorable mention would be Bray Wyatt, but my main pick is going to be Dean Ambrose. I mean, Ambrose ended up going on to win the Money in the Bank and cash in the same night where it had a triple title change. Rollins coming back from injury to face the champion and Roman, beating Roman in what was a shock victory because I don't think anybody expected Seth to win at Money in the Bank. And then Dean Ambrose cashing in to end the reign of Rollins and win the championship for the first time in his career. It was great, and it led into the brand split and the SmackDown Live brand, which Dean Ambrose was basically building up on his own as the main champion of SmackDown following the draft. But yeah, I think my main pick would have been Ambrose because we could have gotten that triple threat we got at Battleground. We could have gotten that at WrestleMania, a triple threat between Roman Reigns, Rollins, and Ambrose would have been absolutely perfect. So I think that would have also made WrestleMania 32 a lot better. And it wasn't just the WrestleManias or the Royal Rumbles for 2014, 15, and 16 that fans didn't love. They really hated WrestleMania 32. But yeah, my honorable mention would be Bray Wyatt. My main pick to win would have been Dean Ambrose to win the WWE title and go into WrestleMania in a triple threat against his Shield, I guess you could say, team members in Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. All right, and for the final installment on our list, the 2022 Royal Rumble. I mean, why on earth did Brock Lesnar need to win the Rumble? Like, I don't even want to talk about this one because I think it's one of the dumbest decisions that they've ever made. I know it's the last one on the list. This wasn't in a certain type of order. I just went in chronological order for the years. But this was so stupid. I mean, there was no point to do this. They wanted to do Roman versus Brock again. Oh, match we hadn't seen 78,000 times. And the only thing they did to really beef it up was to say that it was for the undisputed championship. The Universal Champion versus the WWE Champion. I know you've seen this match 5,000 times, but this is definitely something different. Yeah, nice try. But the hardest part for me, and why this was the last one on the list, aside from the year, it was hard to figure out who the hell should have won this match. Who should have won? I mean, could you have given it to Austin Theory? Fans weren't really behind him, but I'm sure they would have rather had him than freaking Brock Lesnar. But at the end of the day, when I had to pick a winner for this one, it took me a while to decide, but I went with the phenomenal AJ Styles. In 2022, you know, Styles had already had that match with The Undertaker in the Boneyard match, and he lost. But, you know, he was kind of in limbo in 2022, and he had a match at WrestleMania against Edge, which was a big match for him, a great match, but he didn't win. So, like, who cares? He didn't win the match. It was a good match, but he didn't win the match. I think Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania would have been a great match, and that's a match we never really got when Reigns was the tribal chief. We got it in 2016 at Payback. I was actually there. It was a great match to see. It was AJ Styles' first, you know, pay-per-view main event for the championship. He obviously lost, but I think Reigns versus AJ Styles at Mania would have been great, and I also think AJ versus Roman versus Brock would have been an amazing match. So I don't really think you lost with either way in booking that, whether you took Brock out and put him in against Roman or you made it a triple threat. I think AJ Styles should have won the Rumble. It was a fan favorite. It was a fan favorite that they would have definitely got behind to win the Rumble, and they would have much rather preferred him to win over Brock Lesnar, who basically just showed up, tossed some people over the ropes, and look, I'm at WrestleMania fighting for the title. But yeah, that's going to be it for my list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments section who you believe was the wrong winner for a certain year of the Royal Rumble and who you believe should have won the Royal Rumble match, depending on what year it is, from the first Rumble up until this weekend's Rumble with the 2026 Royal Rumble. All right, I'm your host, Double M, and I'm out. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and throw that notification bell over the top rope so you don't miss any future uploads from the channel.